All right, welcome friends. Today's practice is all about the heart space and really tending to any physical tension, manifestation of anything that's left unprocessed in the area of the heart, any emotions, any words left unsaid. We all know the feeling of a tight chest when there's something that's weighing on our emotions. So today I want to address the physical manifestation of tension when we don't feel like we can fully express. We're going to soften that area. So before I say too much more, today's practice will be a combination of long holds and a little self-massage. So grab 2 blocks if you have them, and if you don't, 2 pillows will be really supportive, a blanket and a bolster, and if you don't have a bolster, that's okay. Maybe another rolled up blanket or a couple of rolled up towels. So again, that's 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, grab pillows that are about the same size, a blanket, and if you don't have a bolster, another blanket. Otherwise, grab a bolster. So we're going to start in a seated position, and I recommend that you come sit up onto something. So whether that's your block or a folded up blanket, we're going to start here in our seat. And you can go ahead and close your eyes if you feel okay to close your eyes. And with just gentle breaths here at the beginning, drop your brain into your heart. And it can begin just with an acknowledgement of the beat that starts at the center of your chest and offers a reciprocal pulse under your skin in any moment. Nayyirah Waheed has a poem that often comes to mind on and off of the mat. And it goes something like things to ask yourself in any relationship. How is your heart? Is your breath happy here? Do you feel free? How is your heart? Is your breath happy here? Do you feel free? And as you sit here and let the residue of those words just wash over you like a really soft dew, start to really thoughtfully anchor your attention into your energetic heart space. Every time you breathe and the lungs expand, imagine a really sweet and gentle compression around your heart space, around the muscle of your heart. And the heart is muscle. And though the language is poetic and beautiful, we can't really open the heart space. But today we can start to open the tissues and the structures that surround it, that protect it, so that we can feel a little bit of lightness. And take a full breath in through your nose. And then sigh out from your tender, open heart space. Gently fold your hands over top of your heart. And you can feel the space where your lungs embrace the heart, where the pulse under your skin stems from. where your truth lives, where your love lives, where your kindness lives here. And then gently re-release your hands down onto your thighs, into your lap. And then softly, slowly blink your eyes to open. Welcome back. So the first thing that we'll do is a little bit of acknowledgement to the tension that we all hold across the front of our bodies. And it's kind of beautiful when our body and when our nervous system feels like it's in a state of, even like a microdosed state of not being safe. It starts to protect. So what happens is the muscles along the front of our body start to tighten, right? We know this position of protection, and it's brilliant because our heart is so vital. It's already enclosed by bone, sternum, ribs, but we also start to call in our tissues to call in a rounded spine so that there's more protection here. And on just like a physical level, this causes a lot of discomfort in our body. And when there's discomfort in the body, it's even more difficult to open up and to receive love and give it back. So we're just going to address the muscles, the tissues, and start to undo a little bit of tension. So stay with me. There's a couple of pretty specific cues, and some of them can be a little bit weird. So we'll take the left hand. This is my right hand, but you'll take your left hand and take your fingers and curl them up into your armpit, and it's going to get a little bit weird right away. And then your thumb will come into the front of your chest, kind of where your deltoid curves in underneath of your collarbone. So you kind of grab onto your chest just like this, roll your shoulder blades back, and then bring your right hand onto your left shoulder. And when you press your hand into your shoulder, you'll feel the muscle under your thumb contract, right? So this is your pec, this is your chest muscle, and this one gets really tight. And again, if you're stressed, if you're feeling unloved, if you're feeling a burden of any kind, it's gonna get tight. And just the way that we live our lives, rounded forward, really hyper-focused, it's gonna get really tight. So this might feel tender as it is. What we're gonna do is something called a pin and stretch. So we're gonna pin the muscle into itself. So just pinch in lightly in your own tolerance of sensation. So press your thumb towards your fingers, press your right hand onto your left shoulder so you feel the muscle contract. Take a deep breath in. And then keep grabbing onto your pec here with your left hand. And as you breathe out, slowly start to stretch your right arm forward and then out towards the right. And then we'll go back and forth like this. And just after this first one, you might feel, oh, that was a lot, or I could take a little bit more, or I could readjust where my thumb or my fingers land, and then come back. So right hand presses onto your left shoulder. Engage your muscular system around your heart space. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, keep connected. So keep just gently hugging your thumb towards your fingertips with the left hand as you stretch your right arm out towards the right. Nice, and then go one more time. So press your right hand into your left shoulder, contract, engage, take a deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, slowly stretch your right arm out towards the right. Sometimes we don't like have this relationship with different muscles in our bodies. So this might be your first introduction to your pecs in this way. So be nice. And then gently let that go. And then we're going to switch sides. So you'll take your right hand now to your left armpit. So fingers actually curl into that front frame of your armpit, getting real intimate. And then your thumb is on the front. So this will help hold the tissue down. And then take your left hand, press it onto your right shoulder until you feel that muscle engage. And it might take a little bit of rearranging. So once you find it, press, take a deep breath in. And then slow as you breathe out, stretch your left arm forward and then out towards the left, keeping hold, that little loving pinch with the right hand to your left armpit. And then go again just like that. So reach your left arm across you, press into your right shoulder until you feel your chest on the left side engage. Take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, slowly stretch your left arm forward and out towards the left. One more time. You'll slowly draw your left arm across, press into your right shoulder, take a deep breath in. And then slowly as you exhale, release your left arm forward and out towards the left. Okay. Then gently let that go. You can roll out your shoulders, just do what feels natural. And then the next tissue that we're going to address, it runs from the top of your chest all the way to the bottom corner of your mouth. So you could even think about this as like if your chest is super tight, it'll bring your face into a frown. So we're just gonna release it. So it really helps to take a skin on skin contact for this. So if you're wearing a t-shirt or a sweater, just slip your hand into your own shirt so that you can feel the skin of your palm onto the skin of your pec. And we're gonna start on the right side. So left hand comes to your right pec. Right hand just comes down to reinforce it. And take a deep breath in. Then as you breathe out, press in and drag down, just a touch. And then keep that pin in and down. Next breath in, look straight up towards the ceiling, and you should feel some tension just into those places that I mentioned. So the top of your chest, you'll feel it sweep across the front of your neck, and maybe, depending on how tight it is, you'll even feel its attachment point at the bottom corner of your lips. And then go back and forth as you inhale. Keep pressing in and down with your hands, and tuck your chin as you breathe in. And then keep that connection as you breathe out. You can start to tip your chin up. One more time, gently release your chin in towards your chest. Take a full inhale breath. And as you breathe out, release your chin up towards the ceiling. Be gentle with the back of your neck. Imagine like a little puff of air between the back of your skull and the back of your heart. And then bring yourself back through to center, and we'll switch sides. So bring your right hand onto your left pec, reinforce with your left hand, and then press in and drag down. Relax your shoulders, so try not to have your neck contracting. We're really trying to stay soft. Good, and then as you inhale, press in and drag down. And then as you exhale, tip your chin up towards the ceiling. And again, we're not really symmetrical on either side, so you might feel more tension here. Inhale, release your chin down towards your chest, get long through the back of your neck. And exhale, slowly drag your chin up towards the ceiling. Stay long through the back of your neck too, so there's no kinks. One more time, chin in, deep breath in. And then one more time, slowly tip your chin up towards the ceiling. And then we'll gently come back through to center. Again, release your arms and just wiggle. Let it go, shake out your arms. And then close your eyes, find a still point, and maybe you feel like a little warmth. We addressed some of the fascia, the connective tissue across the chest. So if there's a little hum or buzz, or like what might feel like a day-old sunburn under your skin, that's totally normal. And then ask, how is your heart? Is your breath happy here? Do you feel free? Okay. So we're going to come down onto our belly. Why don't you just stay where you are and take a look at what I'm about to do so I can talk you through things, and then you can meet me down on the ground. So I'm going to come down onto my front body, stretch the left arm out towards the left, so it's like an airplane wing. My wrist, elbow, and shoulder are all in one line. And I'll look towards the right so that my left cheek comes down to the ground. From there, my right fingertips tent like a claw. My right toes point up towards the ceiling. I take a deep breath in, and then with the breath out, I'll slowly step my right toes back behind me. Now there's a couple of things you can do here. This can get intense in the chest and shoulder. So if you're feeling more intensity than sweetness, bend your bottom knee so your left knee bends and points to the right. And then relax the outer edges of your hips and let your left shoulder, chest, armpit drop. So join me down here. I'll talk you through it again. And we start on the belly, looking down towards the ground, and the left arm stretches straight out to the left. Bring your left cheek down to the ground. Tent your right fingertips, point your right toes up, take a breath in to prepare. And then as you breathe out, step your right toes back behind you. Take a little gentle draw of your left shoulder down your back so that there's not too much energy, weight dropping into the front of your left shoulder. And then again, you can bend your bottom knee if it's really intense across the chest. This will put more weight into your lower body. And then once you find your shape, relax. And see if you can allow your bones to settle, your breath to settle into the tense and tender bits. And you can keep your right fingertips tented, or you can drape your right arm onto your right side, even drape it back behind you. And we'll stay here for a number of breaths. So if your mind is really busy here, which is fair with what you're asking your body to do, you can start to connect yourself to the moment via the breath. And the breath is this really old tool that we use to connect to the present moment because it is happening right now. Whereas most thoughts are anchored in past or future. You can scan your body to see if there's anything that you're holding or gripping that you don't need to be. And it's not usually the big things, it's the little things like your toes or your jaw. Allow those things to soften, to send your body signals that you're okay. I'll take one more deep breath in. And one more really full breath out. Good, and then gently release the way you came in. So bring your right hand down onto fingertips, roll onto your abdomen, straighten your legs on the way through, and then just fold your forearms and let your forehead rest down onto your stacked palms. You can rock your hips side to side. Feel the flesh pour through your left arm, armpit, chest. How is your heart? Is your breath happy here? Do you feel free? Please breathe in and gently breathe out. And you'll outstretch your right arm, palm face down, wrist, elbow, shoulder aligned. Tent your left fingertips by your left rib. Bring your right cheek down to the ground and pick up your left toes on an inhale as you exhale. Step the toes back behind you. And it's nice to have the left fingertips there as a kickstand. And you can choose to bend your bottom knee if you'd like a little bit less sensation in your chest. Once you land, you can let the front of your chest drop. You can let the outer edges of your hips soften. You can even take it a little bit softer by letting your left knee bend on top of your right knee. So it's like the fetal position in the lower body. So you have options to kind of amplify the sensation or to soften out of it a little bit. And And then allow your breath to help facilitate a deeper opening. So gentle and deep breaths in will expand the ribs and everything attached to the ribs, including these muscles of the pecs. And with every breath out, of course, we find this feeling of surrender, giving way, giving in. And please just take one more deep breath in. And one more full exhale. Good, and then slowly, slowly release the way you came in. So if you had your arm draped behind you, bringing your left hand down, roll onto your abdomen, and then fold your forearms once again, opposite hand on top, rest your forehead, rock your hips. Feel your heart, feel your breath, feel gravity hold you. And then drop into the embrace. So put down your resistance and be fully held. More. Heavier, softer. Take a full breath in to inflate your open heart space. And exhale, sigh your breath. Okay, gently place your palms down by your sides. Use the strength of your arms to press yourself up and to sit back onto your shins. So the next thing that we'll take is the heart melting pose. And if you've practiced this pose before, you're probably familiar with it with just your forearms down to the ground. But we're going to use a little bit of support, and it's not going to make it easier. It's going to make it more intense. So I'll use blocks. You can also use a bolster or folded up towels, books, whatever. Just make sure that your forearms are level. And for today, we'll bring the palms of the hands together to touch. Walk your knees back. You'll want your hips to line up over top of your knees. And then once you find a good amount of tension from the forearms through to the armpits, see if you can gently vacuum your ribs in so we're not collapsing. There's still a bit of support. And then imagine just the back of your heart dropping down towards the ground, and the forehead can plug in too if there's space. And if you have issues, if your shoulder is bugging you, then just come out of this pose and take child's pose instead. So that would look like this. Carefully coming off of your blocks, knees go wide, arms stretch out ahead of you. And again, if that's still a bit much on your shoulders, then just bring your arms back behind you. And there's still a drop of the back of the heart. And so you have options. And we won't stay here too long. If you're feeling an intensity in your shoulders that doesn't feel healthy, think about pressing down more into your forearms. Find more strength. And then more softness, a little honey drip behind your heart. Open up from the hip bones through your armpit, chest. If your forehead lands, so be it. If it hangs, so be it. Just release the back of your neck, relax. Good. Give yourself 3 more deep breaths in. Inhale, ask, how is your heart? Inhale, is your breath happy here? Inhale, do you feel free? And sigh your exhale, go. Press into your forearms, find your navel, draw it in towards your spine. And then one hand at a time lands to the ground, help yourself up. And here we're going to sit down onto the shins just for a moment. Let your palms face up. Let your eyes soften or come to close. And let yourself breathe into the tender points of everything that is here for you. And taking your full breath in and letting a sweet breath go. Okay, we'll take Supta Baddha Konasana. So take your blanket and roll it up like a pillow. You can also use a pillow. And grab your bolster. You can do this flat down onto your back as well. A bolster is just nice for a little bit of extra support. So again, I'll show you the setup and then you can come down and join me. So your bolster runs along the length of your mat and your blanket lands where your head will, so there's good support for your head. Bend into your knees and have your blocks or your extra pillows handy. We're going to take sometimes known as like butterfly legs, so soles of feet together and knees fall out to the side. For most of us, what happens when we do this, because of tightness in the inner thigh, you feel this really grippy, catchy sensation in your hip flexors. And some of us will just try to grin and bear through it, but your knees will never go down. The tension will never go away because these muscles are firing. They're only getting stronger and tighter. So what I recommend is slipping a block underneath the thighs. So it's not under your shins, it's just between your thighs and your knees, so that you don't have to hold your legs up there. The blocks will, or the pillows will. You can even, if you don't have anything handy, make fists and rest your fists underneath of your thighs, just so that your inner groins and your adductor muscles don't have to do that work. It's not gonna work out. And then bring the bolster to the base of your spine, arch your chest and lay back. So the curve of your bolster meets the curve of your spine. If you have another blanket handy, it's nice to drape it up and over your chest. This is a really heart wide open shape. And so if it feels a little bit soft and tender, then feel free to cover your heart. Let it feel really held and heavy. And then bring your arms out again to a position where they're not hanging in space at all. They can come close down by your sides, or they can outstretch a little bit more. We've created a little bit of space across the pecs, across the chest, across the front body. And give yourself a full breath in from pubic bone to belly, to sternum, to collarbones. And then exhale your breath, let it go. And before you get too comfy here, please bring the palms of your hands together to touch and rub them until you feel some friction, some heat come through. And then pause once you feel the warmth, separate your hands just a couple of millimeters. And then take the tips of your fingers and find your sternum bone. So if you press down the center of your chest, you'll feel a hard triangular bone like a spear. And press in with your fingertips and then rake your fingertips out wide. Like you're digging again into the skin that holds your sternum and then dragging your fingertips outwardly. And you can work your way up more. Fingers plug in. And then drag out wide. If you make that skin to skin connection under your shirt, all the better. And once you find a particularly sticky spot, rather than dragging your fingertips outward, just stay and give yourself a full breath in. And then with your exhale, find the drag, rake your fingertips between your bones out towards your armpits. And then let your elbows soften, let your arms go wide again. How is your heart? Honor whatever answer, emotion, sensation rises to the surface. How is your heart? Ask again. Take a sweet and slow inhale breath. And a calming, grounding sigh. Go. And allow yourself to fall into this embrace. From the inside with your breath. From the outside with the force of gravity, Mother Earth. And imagine your energetic heart space like the doorway where love and compassion and truth enter. Where they find a place to call home. Where they tend to any resistance or wound. Where they remind your physical body that it's okay to stay open even if it's hard sometimes. Lean into your tender, open heart. Now flood yourself with the gift of a conscious breath. And soften a deep sigh breath. And then drift your hands down to the outer edges of your thighs. And help your knees back towards one another so that your soles of your feet meet the earth. Move your blocks off to the side. Reach your right arm up and overhead and then roll off of your bolster onto your right side, fetal position. And curl yourself in and let yourself drop. And then with your gaze down at the earth, press into your left hand, keep your head heavy, and undrip yourself upright. We'll transition into Shavasana. Take that bolster that was under your knees, or that was under your spine, and bring it under your knees. And if you had a blanket, please take your blanket now and bring it over your body. Let your legs drape over your bolster and bring your hands somewhere on your body that feels very nurturing. Gently press into the back of your skull. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another so that your heart space stays elevated. And there's clear room for your front chest to breathe. And then tuck your chin, get long through the back of your neck. With this breath in, scan your body for any resistance, any holding that doesn't need to be holding. And softly, gratefully put it down. Exhale your breath. I'll let go of any effort, any tension. How is your heart? Is your breath happy here? Do you feel free? Listen for the response. And linger in this quiet space as long as you need to allow the messages to come through and to integrate. To retain this softness. And when you're ready, in your own divine timing and design, you can rise and come into your day a little more heart wide open.